December 6, 1917. Halifax harbour bustled with wartime life. Dock workers heading to the docks, children on their way to school, and ships moving unconcerned through icy morning fog. No one expected anything unusual. Hidden among the crowd, a French freighter carrying secret explosives slipped past oblivious civilians. This was the setting for the explosion that should have been impossible. An ordinary morning, seconds away from becoming the deadliest man-made blast in North America. How did routine and secrecy collide to erase a city in moments? Halifax awoke to a sharp December chill. The city's narrow streets echoed with the sound of boots on packed snow as dock workers hurried toward the waterfront, breath rising in small clouds. At the edge of the harbour, families clustered in kitchens, children bundled for school, mothers packing lunches, fathers checking the clock before heading out. The harbour itself never slept. On this morning, whistles and bells signalled the start of another day's business. Steamers nudged against piers, cranes creaked, and the distant clang of a ship's bell drifted through the fog. The air tasted of coal smoke and salt. Carts rattled along Barrington Street, their drivers waving to neighbours. School children in woolen caps darted between puddles of slush, tugging each other along, trying not to be late. On the Dartmouth side, fishermen checked their lines, glancing out at the water that separated their quiet neighbourhoods from the city's constant movement. Closer to the docks, men gathered in knots, trading news about the war in Europe, never suspecting that danger was already anchored just out of sight. The harbour was crowded, but that was nothing new. Wartime had turned Halifax into a crossroads for the world, with troop ships, merchant vessels, and relief ships all jostling for space. For most, the port's daily chaos was simply the background to ordinary life. No one paused to wonder about the ships slipping through the mist. The routines of a Thursday morning carried on, each person wrapped in the comfort of habit, unaware that within minutes these familiar streets and faces will be changed forever. Two ships moved through the crowded narrows that morning, each carrying a weight far heavier than their steel hulls. The steamship Mont Blanc, a French freighter, entered Halifax harbour with its manifest kept secret from public eyes. Below deck, nearly 3,000 tons of explosives, TNT, picric acid and gun cotton were packed tight, along with barrels of benzol stacked on the deck. No red flags flew from her mast. Wartime orders demanded silence and discretion, even as the ship became a floating powder keg. Neither dock workers nor harbour pilots were told what the Mont Blanc carried. The risk was invisible, hidden beneath the routine of a busy port. Across the water, the Norwegian relief ship Emo prepared to leave. She had come to Halifax to load supplies for Belgium, part of a humanitarian mission in a world at war. Her captain and crew navigated the same congested waters, pressed by tight schedules and the ever-present threat of German submarines. Wartime protocols meant radio silence was enforced. Orders and intentions were signalled by whistles and flags, easily lost in fog and noise. The harbour's submarine nets, raised and lowered according to a strict timetable, controlled the flow of ships in and out, adding another layer of pressure to already tense manoeuvres. In the chaos of wartime traffic, with ships lined up and harbour pilots juggling priorities, the Mont Blanc advanced toward the Narrows just as the Emo was cleared to depart. Neither vessel's true danger was visible to the city watching from shore. The stage was set, not by malice or intent, but by secrecy, urgency, and 100 small decisions. What followed would reveal how peril can slip silently through the heart of a city, unnoticed until it is far too late. At 8:45 a.m., the crowded Narrows became the arena for a deadly misunderstanding. The Mont Blanc, inbound and heavily loaded, advanced on the starboard side of the channel. Its pilot, Francis Mackey, sounded one short blast on the ship's whistle, a standard signal proposing a port-to-port pass. Emo, outbound and running late, replied with two short blasts, insisting on a starboard-to-starboard manoeuvre, a move that ignored both custom and the right-of-way rules for the harbour. Emo's pilot, William Hayes, ordered the helm hard to starboard and kept the engines at full ahead, pushing the ship well above the harbour's speed limit. Mont Blanc, holding to protocol, repeated the single blast signal and swung hard to port, slowing her engines in a last effort to avoid disaster. In the final seconds, both vessels tried evasive maneuvers, but momentum and confusion sealed their fate. Emo's bow struck Mont Blanc's starboard side, rupturing benzol barrels on the deck. The collision itself was jarring, but the true danger now leaked and pooled across the Mont Blanc, setting the stage for the fire that would soon ignite. Flames burst from the Mont Blanc's deck as benzol poured out, meeting the cold air and igniting in seconds. The fire raced across the spilled fuel, sending a column of black smoke high above the harbour. The crew, knowing what was hidden below, did not hesitate. Captain Lemedec and pilot Francis Mackey shouted orders and scrambled for the lifeboats. Oars bit into the water as they rowed furiously for Dartmouth, leaving their burning ship behind. On shore, people stared at the spectacle. Some were transfixed, others edged closer for a better view, unaware that the Mont Blanc was now a floating bomb. Firefighters rushed toward Pier 6, hoses uncoiling, trying to fight a blaze that could not be won. In the railway yard nearby, dispatcher Vincent Coleman faced a choice. A sailor's warning sent most men running, but Coleman turned back to his telegraph. He tapped out his final message, the final message he could send. Hold up the train. Ammunition ship afire in harbour, making for Pier 6 and will explode. Guess this will be my last message. Goodbye, boys. The signal travelled down the line, halting train number 10 just in time. Seconds ticked by. The fire roared, the city watched, not knowing its fate was already sealed. At 9:04 in the morning, the harbour erupted with a force that defied belief. The Mont Blanc vanished in an instant, its steel hull transformed into a roiling cloud of fire and metal. A shockwave tore through the city, moving faster than sound. Houses collapsed like paper boxes. Walls, roofs, and chimneys disintegrated, flinging bricks and timber across entire neighbourhoods. Windows exploded miles away, sending glass slicing through rooms where families had just gathered for breakfast. The pressure wave flattened everything in its path, leaving streets unrecognisable. Fragments of the Mont Blanc rained down over Halifax. A half-ton anchor shank slammed into the ground nearly 4 miles from the blast. One of the ship's deck guns landed 3 miles away, embedded in a field. For those near the harbour, the air itself became a weapon. Shards of iron, wood and stone whipped through the city, striking people and buildings with lethal speed. The blast left a silence so complete that survivors described it as the world holding its breath. In the seconds that followed, the scale of destruction became clear. Entire blocks erased, debris scattered for miles, and the heart of Halifax forever changed. Water surged inland with a force that stunned even the survivors. The blast had displaced the harbour itself, sending a wall of water nearly 60 feet high crashing over the piers and sweeping into city streets. Entire wharves vanished beneath the wave. Small boats were tossed like toys, and the surge carried wreckage and bodies far into the lower neighbourhoods. On the shoreline, the shockwave's shattered glass had already blinded hundreds. Now the water roared through the ruins, drowning those trapped in cellars and ground floor rooms, erasing any trace of order left by the explosion. Across Halifax, fire took hold in dozens of places at once. The explosion had torn open gas lines, overturned stoves, and scattered burning debris over rooftops and yards. Flames leaped from house to house, driven by the wind that followed the blast. The Richmond district became a furnace, its wooden homes igniting faster than anyone could flee. In moments, entire blocks were burning. The city, stunned and wounded, now faced a new enemy, one that moved without mercy through streets already filled with the dead and injured. No corner felt safe. The destruction was complete, and the catastrophe kept unfolding, relentless and unstoppable. Today, nearly 2,000 lives lost in Halifax are mostly numbers on a page, yet every unchecked risk, every overlooked warning still echoes. As cities grow denser and supply chains become more volatile, the lesson stands. Disaster rarely announces itself. Our vigilance, or lack of it, writes tomorrow's headlines.